So welcome, everyone. I'm just so thrilled to have you here today, Marbeth Dunn, and welcome to our meditations and conversations with Marbeth and friends. And today we have some amazing friends. I'm just going to check and see whether our other panelist has shown, but I don't see him. So it is what it is. And we have two amazing panelists today. We have Dianne Collins and Christine Powers. And we're going to start with a meditation. Our theme today is Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow, the Fleetwood Mac song. And it's just so upbeat and so much fun. So let's get ourselves all relaxed and breathe. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Inhaling all the way down through your nostrils, all the way down into your belly. And exhale, follow that breath in your mind's eye, all the way out again through your nostrils. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. And I'd like you to put your hand over your heart. It's always such a wonderful place to begin a meditation. Bring your awareness underneath your hand. Breathe into that space underneath your hand. And just fill up with love and gratitude for all the wonderful things that are happening right now with you. Love and peace and gratitude. Just bring that awareness underneath your hand, breathing underneath your hand. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. And inhaling peace and love and joy, and exhaling gratitude for all of the positive things that are happening to you right now in life. Now, you may be locked up in your home, and I'm sure that there's some lovely positive things about that as well. Just focus on good feeling things, love and gratitude. And now I want you to imagine in your mind's eye a wonderful future. A wonderful future where many of the lessons and opportunities for growth that we've all been experiencing are there, right there in this glitteringly beautiful future. Just see it, feel it, enjoy it, love it, and move into that space as if it's already happened. And as you breathe into this future and you're absolutely present and here, imagine that you're there. It's already happened. Yesterday's gone. And so bring your awareness back into your physical body, wiggle your fingers and your toes, and bring that future with you, that imagined future. And I'm so happy you joined us, Mark. I don't know, did you have some difficulty getting in? You can unmute yourself now. So
no, just a total lapse in time.
It happens.
Playing and being with family, and then I was like, wow, I can't believe it's already 5 o'clock. Oops. Yep. Renee actually reminded me. She heard my phone make a message.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. So today I want to introduce you to our amazing panel. We had Marion has actually joined us accidentally. She does not want to participate as a panelist, but she's here, and I don't know how to how to move her from the screen, but we love your face, Marion, and we're very thrilled that you're here. We have the amazing Dianne Collins, Master QuantumThink Coach. Last week, we had his wife, Dianne Collins, on the panel, and the creator of QuantumThink. And Alan is a master coach and a consultant. He coaches executives from major corporations, government agencies, and entrepreneurs around the world. He is awesome. We have Christine Powers, the amazing Christine Powers, master energy worker and intuitive, and with an amazing voice, a background as an opera singer. And she's the founder of the Philosophers Camp, an international organization that awakens and empowers planetary thought leaders. And we have Mark Porteous, the soul connector, who helps inspired influencers and mission-driven entrepreneurs to make their soul connections so they can impact and change the world and scale their business. And I am so thrilled that we have this amazing panel, and I'm so grateful to be here. You know, I think it's so important that so many groups are coming together now and sharing positive messages. Our theme today is don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop. It will soon be here. It will be better than before. Yesterday's gone. Yesterday's gone. So, panel, why should we not stop thinking about tomorrow? Why don't we start with Alan?
Why should we not stop thinking about tomorrow? Well, I mean, where would we be if we did? Tomorrow is exciting. I think we are living in the most exciting times that have ever existed on this planet. I mean, if you just think about it, this is the first time in the history of humanity that every single person in every nation across this entire planet is focused on the same thing. And, you know, so just considering that everybody's working on the same thing, I mean, the whole planet. So that to me is one of the most exciting things coming out of this, amongst, of course, other things. But tomorrow, it's like, you know, it's, it allows for dreams. People can dream. If if we didn't have a tomorrow, there'd be no dreams. There would be no, the mind would dry up and die. Tomorrow is exciting, and of course, tomorrow's here now, depending where you're looking from, right? so I am very excited about tomorrow. It's causing me to think about things in ways that I've never thought about them before. And when I speak to my clients, we're not going to go back to the way it used to be. And I think this is really the important thing for me is, this time that we're in, I think we have to stay in it long enough that we don't slip back when this virus disappears. We don't go back. It's like kind of 9/11, everybody was like, we're like, looking at each other in the eye, letting their cars go in front of them when they were driving, and, people were connected. And then 3-4 weeks later, it was back to business as usual. And I think that we are in a time right now that we cannot let this go back to business as usual. And it may take staying in this state so that we can start to think about, we can see things breaking down, but we haven't had long enough to actually see what the new systems are going to be. That hasn't yet been created. And we need to be in this long enough for that, so that we will be able to sustain the experiences that the people are having by staying home. And there's some pretty good ones. So anyway, so to me, tomorrow is very, very, never been more exciting.
It is exciting. And do you remember, I can't think of the name of this creator, logotherapy. Do you remember who created logotherapy? He was in a concentration camp, and it was the dreams about tomorrow that pulled him forward. So he survived, whereas so many of the people that he was there with did not.
That's right.
But and so he came out and created this logotherapy. to let your dreams pull you forward. Christine, what are your thoughts?
Well, I echo a lot of Alan and his thinking. My husband and I were having this very discussion this morning about the parallels between this time and 9/11, because we're New Yorkers, upstate New Yorkers, I might say. And the important thing for me, just thinking about this, is that when we dwell on the wounds and the pain and the things that have happened, there's less of us available for the present moment. There's less of us actually available to create our future. And wherever we cast our attention, these are exciting times, and they're also tricky times, because there's a lot of rabbit holes we can go down, and there's a lot of distractions. And for some of us, there will be tragedy in the sense that people will be leaving, and we've already had someone in our circle leave. And so I want to balance this and say that what I'm really aware of is the mastery of my thoughts, and who is doing the thinking of the thoughts, and where am I putting my attention, because there's a lot of choice right now, and I'm choosing, not always successfully, to be honest. It's not 24 hours a day, 7 days a week that I'm in this positive space, but that's where the work comes in. That's where the tools come in. That's where groups like this come in. This is where the beauty and the benefit of all of us being together in community is, to support each other in remembering that. So the more of us we have available in the present moment, and then the more we consciously cast our intentions and our thoughts into what does that tomorrow landscape look like, the energy will follow that. The energy will follow that. And
That's so beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. So my 2 cents.
I love it. Well, and Dianne Collins reminded me that it's Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning, creator of logotherapy. Yeah. So that was a very, very potent experience that he had, letting his dreams pull him forward. What about you, Mark?
Again, much of the same. I see all of the opportunity that's here, and that it's not that the opportunity is here now all of a sudden we just move forward. It's being very present in it. So when you talk about what is the future of what is great about tomorrow, I think about my children, my big why. I mean, that's the motivation. But we always hear about the power of now, and it is about choice. It's everything that we're doing now as creating the possibilities for tomorrow. So tomorrow is all that creative possibility, the fun, the play, and understanding that makes being in the present, also being able to be more in the observer. I think it was Christine that was talking about that. Last year I read Michael Singer's The Untethered Soul, and understanding that we are not our ego mind, we are not our conscious mind, we're not the community, that we're observing all of that and being in surrender and co-creating what is coming for tomorrow. It's just a wonderful playground. And yes, there are hard times ahead, and I think that's really what we've been living our whole lives for, is there are some great challenges. So it's not, I love the Revolutionary Agreement number 12 about lighten up, because I think that's really one of the big things that all of us right now are here to do, is to help lighten all of this up, to be able to make the most of this time and to really make it an opportunity for everyone.
Well, I think that's perfect. And there's Marion Head with the Revolutionary Agreements right up there on our screen. So yeah, that's really wonderful. It's so, I want to also address our audience. We have a live audience on Facebook Live. I'm not able somehow to access Facebook while I'm here. However, if you do have a question that you have for our panel, please join us on our Zoom, and you can put your question in the chat. And that way, we'll be able to respond, be able to see it. And those of you who are on the Zoom call, if you have any questions, you can raise your hand, or you can just post them in the chat, because you are part of this conversation. And that initially why I created this was to create a dialogue where we're all part of this. And I'm just so excited to bring in and feature so many wonderful people. But you also, the audience is also part of this. Oh my goodness. There is Marion and Glenn, and you guys are welcome to join in if you want to.
We're thinking about tomorrow.
All right, I love it.
About tomorrow. Sounds like a song.
Sorry I couldn't join you sooner, but Glenn was on another Zoom and I didn't have a quiet space yet. So now that he's off, you get both of us.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, that's wonderful. Happened impromptu, and I'm just really grateful that you're here. So we have this, let's stop thinking about tomorrow. We have currently have a pandemic. So what does this song have to do with our current situation? How can we use the thoughts of this song to just move forward and create something different? What are the tools that we need to use? Alan?
Okay.
Oh, actually, Christine wants to go.
Okay.
Well, I've been working with both clients who are business leaders, and then also just folks that I've known for a long time who are the leaders of their own lives, right? I look at everyone, we're all a leader, just depends. And I've been working with them, and what I've realized is the practical application of this calm that we can bring and preparedness, because when we're prepared for what's unfolding, we can relax because we know we've done the best that we can. So part of that is all these tools for calm. So the first thing that we've done is, which has been a little difficult for me, is I've cut out TV in the morning, like no news in the morning. I just read it because my nervous system can't really differentiate when it's on TV. It's like too much.
Yeah.
And so rather than getting, again, like this rabbit hole, we could go into this huge rabbit hole of getting sucked into the I don't want to diminish it, but it can really sap our life force if we get hooked into TV. So getting what we need to know about what's happening in the outside world in little bits throughout the day, reading them, not watching them. And then with this extra time at home, building in, my husband and I have built in an hour together every morning, because now we can, for positivity, positive programming. So we're bringing in uplifting material, things like that. We're also making sure that we are eating better than we have before. And there's a real poignancy and preciousness to every meal, because here in New York, actually, it's getting tighter and tighter, clamped down. And we're just really walking every day. We're actually doing all these amazing self-care things. We're getting out into nature, we're walking, we're feeding our brains with positive things, our thoughts, better food, better sleep, supplements, and this calm, taking time for little bits of meditation or stillness throughout the day. So that's what we're up to in our household. And we have a 15-year-old, and he's playing along pretty nicely so far. So that's helpful.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So, Alan, what do you think? What tools are you using to?
Well, it's interesting because the work that Dianne and I do, it's not really that much different than we would have been doing anyway, because we work from home and all of our clients are corporate clients and they're all working, they're just working from home. So I think the tools though, but one of the things that Dianne and I have been doing is, like Christine, and we've been doing this for 30 years really, it's like Dianne and I in the morning anyway, we've been, we read, spiritual scriptures and connect into source right away, right at breakfast. And, even if we get up and something could go on, you get a bad mood, somebody says something out of line and you get into a thing, but then as soon as I start reading that, it immediately takes me to a higher place. And we've also been reading Dianne's book ourselves, and we started to do it backwards. So instead of reading it from front to back, we decided to read it from back to front. Because when we tried it so many times, you know, it's a big book, it's 300 odd pages in there. And we've said many times, let's start reading the book again. But we never get all the way through it. So I figured, let's start at the end. That way we will definitely get through it. So we're going backwards. And it's terrific, actually. I'm so excited about reading it. So I mean, that's some of the things. And, you know, there's one thing in Diane's book, in one of her distinctions, Emotions and the Power of Mind, about, you know, the higher emotional states and the lower emotional states. And it's very interesting because this pandemic is a pandemic that hits your immune system. If you have a weak immune system, you're vulnerable. And so it is, like Christine said, you know, it's very, very important to keep your immune system really strong. And the ways to do it is to fill your mind with positive things. Emotions, you know, are part of the past. I mean, emotions are a meaning that we give to something in the physical universe. And that's something that came from the past. So that is what our emotions are, is like the meaning that we're giving it to it, and that is past based. So that's why it's important to leave the past in the past, and to stay in the moment, and you know, and do whatever you can to read things that keep you in a positive mindset. Exercising, sleeping well, eating well, having a little fun along the way. You know, we don't want to get, you know, too stymied here. We have to have some fun while we're doing all of this, you know, so whatever that means for each of us, it's all different. But I think that's the key, is keeping the emotional states, the higher emotional states of love and joy and happiness and smiling, you know, and, you know, keeping a good attitude, as distinct from the lower emotional states of fear and anger and frustration and concern. This is where mastery of the mind comes in, because we're bombarded with stuff that is in the lower emotional states. So we've got to continually keep ourselves fresh in our mind to stay, you know, to catch it when it's there, and immediately come, you know, and look and see, you know, to choose something else that is on a better frame of mind.
Yeah, wonderful. And Diane's book, Do You Quantum Think, is wonderful. Mark, what are your thoughts?
Well, that's such a perfect segue, because the very first thing I wanted to acknowledge was that Marion has been trying to introduce me to Alan for years. Or at least testing that I read Do You Quantum Think? It will be done this week. I'm just really, really pleased to be here, and this topic and this timing, I think it's all divine. So thank you, Marbeth, for bringing us all together.
No accidents.
No accidents, absolutely, all divine. So I have three things that we're doing in our family, and I do think that this is really a remarkable time. There's no other time in history like this. I love that you set that up, that, you know, the technology and everything else. And I posted this on Facebook yesterday, that if this had happened when I was 10, and I have 10-year-old twins, they'll be 10 on April 15th, the day that they're supposed to be open to school again. And you know, we did without internet or all that other stuff. It was a very, very, very different thing. And there's lots of other wonderful things about this divine timing. But for us, my daughter, Eden, literally broke down at the beginning of the week, talking about needing structure. It was just too chaotic. And so that was last week, because before school actually started, we designed our own structure for them to be homeschooling before they actually implemented homeschooling. And although they're going to be opening up on the 15th, which is again their birthday, we're planning to homeschool for the rest of the year. And
nice.
It sets things up to really design our lifestyle the way that we want it to be, and to be able to do everything exactly how we want it to, at least practice it. My son has been wanting to homeschool. They're in fourth grade. They're going into fifth grade next year. And my daughter is very, very social and wants to be in school. My son is very excited to not be in school. But this, again, gives us that opportunity on how to physically distance ourselves, but to still stay socially connected, like what you're doing here with, you know, bringing people together. They've been doing, my daughter especially, doing that on Zoom and having her own little social gathering. So for one, having a structure that keeps us in somewhat normal mode of still taking showers and getting dressed, and having spiritual practice, I think, is a very, very important one. Having that commitment to whatever that morning practice is, but having that structure is big. In my industry, I work with lots of speakers, coaches, other leaders and influencers, and the idea of pivoting right now and how to plan and prepare. Many of them have live events. Half of my clients have had to cancel events, over the next 2 weeks, and bringing them online and saying, okay, when we're ready, we'll come back and do it again in person. But this whole idea of being able to stay connected online digitally would not have been possible 4 years ago. So really important. Thanks again for doing that. And positioning ourselves for when we do come out of this, and the idea of us as leaders standing up and shining our light during this time, and really being anchors for all of the other people who really might feel fear or anxiety around this, and for us to say, we're looking at tomorrow. We're not stuck in today. We are there, and to be able to bring people forward with us is just really, really, really important. So that's one of the number two. Number three is the opportunity to serve. So again, as entrepreneurs, I really see this as a great chance for us to really see how can we best serve. And I think that the people that are showing up right now in service to bring more light into their communities are really positioning themselves for when we do come out of this as leaders in the community, and people that are going to look for business and for guidance and for all the things that is part of what's going to be the new paradigm in all of life, not just in our business. So this is a great opportunity for us to align even more deeply with our divine purpose, which is a big part of my work. And again, the number one part, the revolutionary agreement number one, I agree to live my mission. And this is really just a perfect opportunity for all of us to do that even more.
How wonderful. We have a comment from Je suis le plume, Jim, as we know him. Both good and bad things lie all around us, but most of us have been successfully taught to only see the negative. At any point, we can choose to either see both or only highlight the positive. The whole universe, including ourselves, have been given free will, but normally do not believe that or choose to use it. And yeah, this is really such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. Thank you, Christine, for posting that also. Yeah, so Marion and Glenn, do you have something to add?
Aloha.
Aloha.
This is reflecting what we're looking at, by the way. So, yeah, it's good to be here, Marbeth, and it's wonderful to meet you, Christine, and to see you, Mark and Alan. Wonderful. Yeah, I think the most exciting thing for me is what Glenn has named this coronavirus.
The love bug.
So speaking to the person who said we can be thinking negatively or positively, that is how he's framing it. And because of that, we are seeing how it's bringing the love into everything that we're doing so consciously. And Christine, you mentioned the word care, self-care. I have been seeing caring going on at levels that I haven't been conscious of it before.
Yeah.
So the love bug, it's showing us too how fast something can spread. And so I say, why not love?
It's beautiful.
And thinking of tomorrow, the nonprofit goodofthewhole.org is launching the connection field for 5 hours on Zoom, beginning at noon Eastern time. We will have at the top of every hour a resonant field creation, and then open a space for simple listening and connection. So
Lovely.
no presentations, no fixing, no coaching, just a place for people to connect and hear each other. The intent, Alan, thinking of QuantumThink, is to have this be a 24-hour Zoom connection field. We'll start where we are, which is 5 hours Eastern time, beginning tomorrow. And that's interesting to you, go to goodofthewhole.org. You'll find the Zoom information, and everybody is welcome for anything that wants to be connected.
That's
We're
very
just-
cool, Glenn. That's very,
Right.
very cool. Yeah. I know that Harrison and I have been walking, and this is a man who didn't used to like to walk, and now we're walking almost every day. I'm not going to the Pilates or the yoga studio, so I am doing my yoga at home, and that really has been very powerful for me to do that as a discipline, to do my meditations, cooking 3 meals a day, presenting, not breakfast, but just presenting meals that are all healthy, being very aware and conscious about staying positive, not watching the news, although my news feed sometimes, can be a little disruptive, and then just taking my awareness away from that and moving back. I'm choosing to be peaceful. I'm choosing in the moment right now, I can be peaceful, but I'm also holding a vision of a future where people are still collaborating, where people are still smitten with a love bug, shall we say. And that's a dream to pull us forward, where so many beautiful silver linings. So what do you think are some of the silver linings that we've been blessed with because of this? Oh, Marion, here.
So, Laura Beth, I travel a lot, and we've lived in 3 different locations for the last 7 or 8 years. Now our only home is here in Kauai. I'm very grateful for that. But during my travels, I have often missed my friends in the other locations. And every now and then we would get on the phone with each other. Since this happened, we're getting on Zooms. We've never even done FaceTime together before. And so we're actually staying closer, even though physically we can't hug each other. We're staying closer. And this week, we were on a Zoom with 16 people, many of whom we haven't seen in years. And it felt so good to reconnect deeply. We can do amazing things in resonance using this technology. And
That's beautiful.
That will not change when this is over.
No, I think it's beautiful. It seems like even though we're physically separated, we're building community. And how beautiful is that? Christine, what are your thoughts?
I'm present to, it's funny, what I'm present to is that I keep seeing the meme. That one is one of the funniest that I've seen so far, which is, it kind of feels like Mother Earth has put us all in our rooms for a while to think about what we've done. Like the whole earth is in a big time out, like, stop. And, as a byproduct, looking at the water in Venice already, the resilience of nature is clear, and the pollution clouds, and, the dissipation of particulates, and, it's, we now have the contrast. We can't say we didn't know, we can't, like, on the other, this is really illuminating for us in a really visceral way the impact we're having on our climate every day, because we're getting a reboot, we're getting a reset, and it's happening fast. So I think, that's a silver lining as far as, climate change and our participation, are the fact that, we are of the earth. She made us, we're made of the elementals. So I think that is a really special byproduct for me. I'm delighted to see that.
That's wonderful. And you were talking about the waters in Venice. They had dolphins there. They had swans there. How amazing. And the Arctic, the ozone over the Arctic has been healing itself. and just so fast. And the air over China, is clear. And so there's a lot of very positive things. What do you think, Alan?
Well, same thing, actually. I mean, I look out at the ocean. We live right on the ocean here.
Yeah.
And I've never seen every single day since this thing started, which is about, I don't know, about a week or so ago, it sort of started, I think, when we had to stay at home. So there's no people around. Human beings have been removed from the daily activity of life. And the beach, the ocean is crystal clean. And it has been clean every single day. That I've been here 30 years. I have never seen that. So I mean that's one of the things definitely that is, I think it's unexpected things. And I think this is a really, I think about this a lot. This thing happened. It was unexpected when it came along. We didn't see it coming. All of a sudden it was on us and it took over everybody's lives. And what I'm excited about actually is that what's going to come from it, and also at the same exponential speed, is that we're going to see things happen that we couldn't in our wildest dreams have imagined that's going to happen across the board. Things that will just change everybody's lives, even the people that seem like they're going through a hardship right now, they're not at work and they're worried about that. It's going to be a whole different world for them as well. So I think when we come out of it, humanity is going to look very different. And I see, one of the things I had to, wanted to say about the Zoom, what Dianne came up with yesterday, which is so brilliant, is that she decided, Passover's coming in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And we have our family all over the country. And we have never been as a family in probably 20 years, 25 years. We have never been as a family for Passover. And so she's putting together a Zoom Passover and connecting everybody from Los Angeles to Michigan to Palm Beach to here. And so we're going to have a whole family are going to get together. We'll have my brother-in-law do the service. Of course, we won't be eating.
Well, you'll be eating in your home. You can all eat at the same time.
Well, we can all eat at the same time, maybe because the different time zones. But anyway, the point is that the whole family will get together and we'll go through the service as a family, which we have never done we've actually never done, because there are members in the family now that weren't there then. So we've actually never done it. So that's one thing. And another thing that, when you're speaking about community, I've been really thinking about this, and I'm going to start introducing it to corporate clients. Is that because corporate clients think in the context of team, and team's fine. We're not throwing out team. We're keeping team, but it's a bigger context called community, because community functions different than team. Team comes with a set of rules that are very different than community. Team is about competition, it's about win-lose, it's about that, which is fine, you need that as well. It's healthy to have that, but it's been only that. Now, looking at it from the perspective of community and adding that dimension in, is now we're going to look at people volunteering, people actually genuinely looking out for how they can help their colleagues. What is it you need? What is it I can give you? This is what I have. How can I give this to you? How will it make a difference? And to really look at the power of community in a corporate environment. I've been doing this for many years in this business of, corporate coaching and consulting. Community is not even a buzzword, frankly. So I'm excited to explore. Tuesday will be my first day doing this with a group of people in a very large corporation, and I'm going to bring this right home. So
that's exciting. That's really exciting.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited about that side of things.
Wow. I know, because I know you work with some large corporations. So this could be a whole new experience for
Yeah.
them and really
Yeah.
create
Yeah.
greater collaboration and a less competitive dog eat dog type of environment. That's
Yeah,
wonderful.
I mean, it's both and. It's both and. The competition's healthy, but I think the competition will be exponentially healthy in the context of community.
Yeah, that's really lovely. So already that you're kind of creating a different future. Yeah, through the now. That's beautiful. Mark, what about you?
I love that Alan brought in community, and especially bringing community into the corporate world. Barbara Marx called it the Trojan horse of love. Being able to sneak that in there, so I'm grateful for that. That's the work that mine is all about, building community. So that's like a core part of my everyday work. What's coming up now is autonomy. We just had a big event. Marion actually was one of our speakers and Marbeth, of course, was there as well. The Soulful Leadership Mastermind Retreat. And one of my clients did an exercise. Her name is Gina Piro. She was a rockette, a Radio City rockette.
Right.
We all did this kick line where we learned that you're not like holding on to each other. You're just touching each other, and you're completely autonomous, and that you need to be fully responsible. And this is such a great exercise in that right now you see areas that are doing really well in locking down, and you just saying, okay, you take care of yourself, and other people saying, oh no, I'm still going to go to the beach and hang out with all my friends, and how that affects the group. So being fully autonomous and being able to be fully responsible for your own actions and how that affects a group. So that was the whole idea of her exercise, was that we are autonomous and we are part of a community. So being able to have both ends of that spectrum, I think this again is a great exercise and bring awareness and light to that.
Did I get everybody? Did I get you guys, Marion and Glenn? I think yes. So I was like, whew, did that happen? So what are some creative ways that we can reshape tomorrow into something amazing, something wonderful, and we don't look back? Christine, why don't you start?
Yeah, perfect. Because the one time I'm like, gee, I don't know.
I planned that.
So, what comes to mind is the setup for that. That for all of us to have a sense of permission, that we can even reshape everything. The reason I say that is I was just talking again, having another conversation with another group. As you know, Marbeth, about 3.5 years ago, everything we owned, including our businesses and literally everything, burned to the ground.
Yeah.
And so the grace in that was that when I scanned the horizon of my life, I saw pure potentiality. And because life had broken the rules, I no longer felt obligated to play by a lot of the cultural mores that were, pressing upon me and had found their way into my belief system. So for all of us, what may look like being laid off, losing our job, serious health challenges, whatever is coming our way, one of the incredible gifts is that we now have the opportunity to start all over. And we, can just toss it all out and say, what is my heart's desire? What is my heart's desire going forward? And taking all of this beauty and all the wisdom that, Mark's talking about, Alan, Marion, and Glenn, like just this exuberance and this joie de vivre and reshaping anything that is available to us now. It's always been available, but we've gotten hit over the head with it that it's available. So just to lay that out pretty succinctly, like the game is up and it's a wide open field.
And look what happened with you. I mean, you lost everything in that fire.
Yeah.
And look where you are now. You're in this gorgeous place in the Adirondacks, your philosopher's camp. You've created something magical there with 100 acres in upstate New York. I mean, wow.
Yeah. And from my background, my executive background, leading spiritual retreats in a kind of retreat destination, I had always judged as never being spiritual enough or good enough, right? And I'm having the time of my life, and that freedom to let go of all those identities and those expectations. So this is a time for that as well.
Yeah, yeah. That was a beautiful gift that you had, losing everything in a fire. Who knew?
Who knew?
And that's so beautiful, because we need to look at everything as a gift. We don't know all of the beautiful silver linings and gold linings that are there in every experience.
Yeah.
Things can look like they're going to be absolutely wonderful and turn into dirt. And yet something that looks so shocking and so upheavaling, if that's a word.
Right. Upheavaling. Sure, it sounds good. Why not? It's a whole new world. We're pivoting to upheavaling.
But I mean, look where you are now, in an amazing situation, amazing place. And what a blessing. Alan, what about you?
Well, for me, what I see coming here is technology, as a new level of technology. And I see, for example, we have a situation going on right now. What happened is people rushed off to the stores, and they started hoarding everything they could, every bottle of water, every piece of toilet paper, everything they could get their hands on. They scooped it all up and took it all home, right? And left other people without anything. Right. And even today, weeks later, finding a piece of toilet paper on a shelf in a store is still not easy. So
I know.
But so what I see is, like one of the, I mean, I'm definitely into this advanced technology. I see everybody with 3D printers in their house. So we will no longer need to worry about going to the store. You want a piece of toilet paper, you print it right out on your 3D printer. You need a lunch, print it out on your 3D printer. This is here now. It's not, I'm not talking about a fantasy here. This is actually going on right now. I mean, if they can 3D print rockets and body parts, we could 3D print anything. Somebody with a 3D printer printed a Lamborghini. So, I mean, there's no limit to what the 3D printers can do. So they need
ventilators. Let's create ventilators.
Exactly. And they're doing yes, that's what's going on. They're printing ventilators. Some of them who have 3D printers that can do it, they're printing ventilators. So there should never be a shortage of anything. That's when, if you think about it, it really removes this whole scarcity mentality. So just imagine, communities and a nation with no scarcity in their minds, gone forever. Just think, just to consider what that would be. And then you go into other things like the sensors. We'll be wearing sensors around, like rings, which they have now, with multitudes of sensors in there that can pick up. This is what they did actually in Wuhan in China, where they were able to tell if somebody's temperature went up a half a beat. That was the warning sign. So these sensors can read everything, and we'll be using those to pick up any dangers on our body, way before it comes about. So we'll be living much more healthier lives. We won't have to worry about getting sick, because the sensors will pick it up on it, and we'll get information on it instantly. And so I see this, and I saw today, artificial intelligence in England, using it to actually, for people that are feeling sort of alone, and that how artificial intelligence is actually being able to help them do that through Google. I don't know what the name of the thing is. It's kind of like Siri type thing, but it's through Google, helping people not get lonely and not feeling alone. So technology is going to come in through this, what's going on right now, at an exponential rate. And it's going to come into our lives in a way that is going to help us, so that we don't have to fall victim to outside circumstances like health and food and this and that and the other. So that's one of the things that excites me.
Really? I never would have guessed. I mean, now you've got so much passion. That's wonderful. That's awesome. Mark, what are your thoughts?
My first thought is just going back to Christine, actually. We're talking about the fire, and it reminded me, much like this situation, of the sequoia tree. If you're familiar with the story of the sequoia, that the sequoia seed cannot crack open and plant a new sequoia tree unless there's a forest fire. It needs that high heat and temperature to crack it open. It also, the seed works as nutrient, the burnt seed, to actually give the nutrients to grow the seed. So forest fires are absolutely necessary in order for new growth to happen. And that's something that I'm sure Christine has experienced in her own life, and now the whole world is experiencing at one time, which is absolutely amazing. So the possibility is actually something that came from the weekend when I met Marion and Glenn. We were at the Co-Creators Convergence at Sunrise Ranch in Colorado, and we were working towards, what are some of the solutions to our human problems. And the answer that came out of it was really about just being more of who we really are. And so I really feel like that's the opportunity for all of us to really be able to be more of who we really are, and to be able to show up authentically, and be able to design our life exactly as we want it without excuses. That idea of everything has changed, everything's been disrupted, we don't have to follow those old rules, that we get to really design a world that works for everyone.
Love it. I love it. Marion and Glenn.
Sorry.
That's
I'm using
okay.
my new iPad, and I'm not that familiar with where everything is on it. Being more of who we really are. Oh, I love that. Because this is the first time I have ever been on a public Zoom without lipstick.
Without what?
Lipstick.
Oh, me too. No lipstick.
I mean, I was just, I was doing some other Zooms, kind of friend Zooms, and here we are. And this is me. This is who I am. And I'd like to speak to technology also. I think it's the combination of technology and nature. To me, that's the perfect balance. It's like sitting out here with the ocean in front of me, with this technology, and also the self-care. I've seen that speaks so loudly to me. It's not that I've done more self-care since this, it's that I continue to take my walks early in the morning, take pictures of the sunrise. I live to take pictures of the sunrise every day, and do my Tai Chi. Really, what I know is that when I take care of myself, I'm taking care of you. I know that because we are all connected. So it took me a lot of years to get to know that. So I'm for authenticity, self-care, using technology, being in nature as much as we can. And see these, I have got an Apple Watch this year because I'm at a certain age where I could get this watch really inexpensively, because it's in a test to monitor my heart rate and my breathing and my movement. And it reminds me to stand up at least once every hour. And it reminds me to breathe. It actually has pulsating breathing on it. When it says time to breathe, I hit a little something.
It vibrates.
It vibrates on my wrist. It has this beautiful graphic. Ooh, it's just, yes, I get it. So I don't even remember the question, Marbeth. I hope what I said was helpful.
It was helpful, and I have a couple of comments. Again, from Jim, Je suis le plume. It's likely that virtually every limit that we have been taught prevent us from doing things is false. There may be no limits, or just very few real ones. What if the universe itself does not even recognize no or not, but only the positive? That may be close to the truth. And Christine also added, and education, the genie's out of the bottle. And she loves your sequoia, Mark. So we are getting very, very close to the hour. So if everybody can just take a 1 minute little 1-minute little thought that you would like to share. I'm going to let you go first, Marion.
The thought that comes to me is to be uber conscious of our breathing, so that many times a day when we're taking a breath, we're connected to everyone else on earth who is taking a breath.
Ooh, I love that. Mark.
What a great segue, because my whole thing was really about connection, that this whole experience is making us hyper aware of the importance of connection, and even connecting here virtually, but being able to be in physical connection, hugging. For those of us who get to have somebody in isolation with us, and we get to physically hug, just the importance overall of connection during this time, and the idea that even if you're in meditation and breathing, of having that sense of connection even in our isolation.
Nice. Christine.
Thank you. Yeah, so this is the time that we were built for. This is the time that we've been waiting for. We've been experiencing with each other this excitement, and I'm also really present to relief. There's a great relief at this time that we've entered into, and so many are waking up, like by not with choice, but rudely awakening. And we are the ones who are present. I dare say everyone who's here on this Facebook Live and Zoom and in the future is magnetized right here, because we are the ones, this is our time, and we're waiting for them like fishers of men with our nets to support them in awakening and activating into lives that truly matter and are very fulfilling and joyous.
Oh, beautiful. And Alan.
I would say that, all of the things that we are all doing, I mean, obviously there's a group of people here. We've all shared the things that we're doing on a daily basis that may be a little different than how we used to do things. And of course, we're not the only ones doing that. Families, for example, families probably are now together more than they've ever been. Before it was this one's off to basketball practice, that one's off to swimming practice, music practice, golf, this, that, and the other. But now they can't do any of that. So families are actually experiencing families. So I think that the most important thing is to stay with this and do however long it takes, whether it's 6 months, we have to be sequestered, it doesn't matter. I think that we have to stay with this and stay until we get to love where we are right now. And that's the key for me, is that we can love what is actually going on. What was once an inconvenience, but now has become a way of life. We will have gone past that critical point where it will go back to the old way. We will actually be in a new place.
I love that.
It will be sustainable.
Absolutely. So so we need to love the situation where we are right now. And how wonderful, we're all in a really good place. Mm-hmm. And how amazing is that? Mm-hmm. And I wish so much love and peace and joy, and don't stop thinking about tomorrow. It will soon be here. It'll be better than before. Yesterday's gone. Yesterday's gone. I will see everyone next week with another meditation and conversation. Love you all.
Aloha.
Aloha.